everyone. Thanks for coming back to watch another episode of my Interview a Real Estate Expert. Today, I have Kathy Rogers with the Mortgage House in Atascadero. We're going to ask her all the questions that I think you need to know if you would like to hire her for your next home finance transaction. So, Kathy, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
We've been talking about doing this for a long time.
Right, and I'm
Yeah.
glad we're doing it.
Yeah, so we're finally here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. No, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Well, again, I hope I can impart some knowledge for everybody and give them a little bit more information on, what I like about why I'm doing lending and, help some buyers out there. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. So we'll start with your lending background and just about you.
Well, I've been in lending since 2008, and that's actually when there was an actual big recession.
It's like almost there's like a pattern that I'm sensing with people that I've worked with.
Really?
It's like a lot of them have come in through like right during 2008.
Well, it was a good learning experience for me because I'd come off of being a title rep for Chicago Title for 11 years. So I definitely was already in the industry working with lots of realtors and lenders at the time. So when that happened, Chicago Title closed. So it was like a shoe-in to get into lending. And I had a great mentor who is still my manager at this time. She basically taught me everything I know, but I got into lending. I've been with the Mortgage House now going on 9 years. The great thing about the Mortgage House and then me, I live in the area. I live in the North County. I'm local, and so I can impart a lot of local knowledge to people along with our loan programs, and just knowing that I can meet with people in person. We have a couple offices, Atascadero and San Luis Obispo. So it's really great because I'm highly involved in the community as well. I'm involved with the Real Estate Association and both chambers. So I think it just kind of helps when you know a lot about the community that you live and work in.
So what about your family? Can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Oh, well, I have 3 grown children. My oldest lives in Seattle, has graduated from college. I have a daughter who lives here locally, is finishing up her second year at Cuesta. I have a son that's a junior in high school in Atascadero. They all work, they're all very motivated, they all want to make money, they're doing great. And my husband basically does like side work, tile, marble, granite, but and we live in Santa Margarita. We've been there for a long time. We built our house, so yeah, it's a great community to live in and bring up a family.
What are the most popular loans you offer, and why do you think they're popular?
Well, I have to say, we offer, conventional government, down payment assistance, all that, but my most popular, I have to say, would be a 30-year fixed conventional and VA. Conventional mainly because a lot of people don't realize you do not have to put 20% down.
Right,
You can put as little as 3 to 5% down. You'll have the monthly mortgage insurance. So that is very popular. But the other, I've done so many VA loans the last, I'd say 5 years. I've got a lot of VA clients right now that are looking for homes. And it's a great loan because for veterans, they do not have to put any money down. There's no loan limit anymore. Like, even though we have loan limits for conventional loans in our county and all counties, and counties have different loan limits depending on the area. But VA, they can put 0 down on $1 million home.
Wow.
It's great, and they don't have mortgage insurance. There's just a lot of benefits for VA buyers.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's nice to know, I think, because for our veterans, there are specialized veteran, lenders, which I'll probably have to bring someone on in the future, but it's nice to know when you have someone else who can kind of do like a little bit of everything, and I like that.
And I do really tout myself as being specialized because I've got to learn about them so much.
Yeah.
And I have my support staff, all the people that we work with. We don't know the answers to all the questions, but if I need an answer, I try to educate myself as much as possible. I have my support staff to go to. But I've learned a lot about VA in the past just because I have so many clients now. So you get to know all the specifics. And so I have to say I've become very, I guess, specialized in VA loans.
Oh, that's
So
great.
if you need something.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, of course. It's always nice to
Definitely.
know. Who handles your underwriting?
So because we're considered local, we have local underwriters. I probably 3 to 4 that I can always.
They're in county.
Right. Well, a lot of them work out of their homes. We do have one underwriter that works in SLO, and then we have them kind of scattered. We actually merged with it's a company called Dignified Home Loans about 5 years ago, and that has given us so much opportunity to do a lot more, to have more resources available, more offices. So again, getting back to underwriting, we have underwriters in different spots, but because a lot of them are remote now, I can call on any of them. I can actually email them and ask them any questions. I usually get an answer, usually the same day or the next. We also have what's called an underwriting help desk. It's called the deal desk. And so if I'm working with people and I have questions up front before getting into a loan or a deal, and I'm kind of wondering if this type of situation is going to work, I'll email my help desk and I get an answer usually again within a couple hours, or if it's a little bit more, need more investigative work, I might be hearing back the next day. But that's what I love about the company is we have these resources where I know up front what I'm working with before we get into a deal, knowing that we can do the deal or maybe we can't do the deal because of guidelines. But I'm always able to have people that I can call upon. So it's just, and again, our underwriters, they're all really trained, have years of experience, very knowledgeable.
I was gonna ask you the benefits to that, but I mean, you just kind of listed them all. It's perfect. You answered my question. It sounds just so, trying to think of, it's just very accessible.
That's
and
the word.
And kind of just preparing for a loan, like you said, having someone to talk to before you kind of get into it.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of hit some hurdles before you're in the process, which I think is really valuable.
Right.
Especially if you have first-time home buyers,
Mm-hmm.
or special loan kind of situations.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's puts the client at ease a lot, I would say.
And one thing I have to say, one of our head underwriters, he actually started with the mortgage house. He probably has been with us maybe 15, 16 years. He started with the mortgage house as a receptionist. He moved his way all the way up through processing, through junior underwriting, junior processing, and he's now our head underwriter. And he is so knowledgeable, and he doesn't have an ego. It's not about like, well, I know this, and but he just wants to make the deal work. And we'll look at a situation like when I first started with the mortgage house, I had a really challenging deal, and he wanted it, we all wanted it to work, but he came up with a solution to make it work for the buyers. And so it's like, that's what our company wants, is we want for these deals to work. And so it's so great because I think he's gone through all the facets of being in the loan business, from not only just being an underwriter the whole time, but he knows what all these other support positions involve. So he feels for us because we're out on the streets, and they're behind their desk. But they're trying to help us make the deal work.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
So how long does it take to get a pre-approval letter from you?
I can get a pre-approval letter out in a day.
Oh, great.
And being that I have all my information from my buyer, I obviously have an application, but if I've got all their documentation, then I can usually put that letter together pretty quickly.
Oh, that's great. So if they see a house they like, I mean, as long as they can get their paperwork together,
Yep.
we can get it out and get that offer in.
Definitely.
It's not as urgent these days, but sometimes, I mean, in this area, if there's a nice house, it's gonna go fast.
Right.
And that's what I've been seeing a lot in today's market, even with higher interest rates than what we saw during 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
So that's always really nice.
And that's what I've seen lately too.
What is your average loan processing time?
Well, lately I have my own dedicated processor, and she does work with.
Oh, just for you?
Yes, but well, she has other loan officers.
Oh,
but,
okay.
The way our company is set up is we have so many processors that get so many loan officers, but she's one of the best. She's also a junior underwriter, so she's really very knowledgeable. But she can usually once we get a loan started and we send out what's called the disclosures, and we get those signed. Then after that, everything gets sent to processing. She can usually get it out within a day. She's very fast.
I love all these resources that you have available. Like every time I'm asking her a question, she's like, I have this person, I have this person, I have this person. I'm like, I love that. That's great.
And that's why I've been with the Mortgage House so long. I have to say,
Yeah.
it's actually like a family as well. You get to know these people and work with them, and we get to know each other's nuances and our specialties, and it really helps the flow because we know how each other works. And I have to say, I've had other processors over there. She's fast, but she knows what she's doing. So she's not skipping things. Like, she makes sure that the file, so basically what she does is she gets it ready to get to underwriting. And we make sure we have everything, together. So yeah, she's quick. So that helps on the, when we're in escrow, when we have a certain time frame we have to follow, she makes things move along quickly.
Well, that's perfect because that leads into my next question is how fast can you get a loan processed?
Well, like I say, if she can get it done in, let's say, 1 to 2 days, let's say max, get it to underwriting. Our underwriting lead times now are very quick as well. So, we can usually get a loan approved with what we call conditions, I'd say in a week once we get everything in.
Right. Would that include an appraisal?
No.
Okay.
So an appraisal, and
what do those times look like right now?
They've been pretty quick as well.
Oh, that's good.
Depending on the property.
Right.
I just had a dome home, and
like a dome.
An actual dome, and that appraisal we got back in probably 12 days.
That's pretty good.
Like the appraisers like to give us about 10 days from when we've ordered it. If we need it quicker, they'll usually be able to, and not even with an extra fee. And lately, because business it's not crazy like it was, last 2 years, the process is moving along pretty quickly. Appraisers, they usually get back to us pretty quickly. Right. So let's say we have a 17-day contingency, we usually get it back a couple of days before that.
Oh, that's great.
If we need it faster, they're pretty accommodating.
Okay. What kind of loans do you offer for self-employed borrowers that may not kind of fit the normal bill?
So we can do these out-of-the-box loans. We have what's called bank statement loans. So we would look at either 12 to 24 months of their bank statements showing their deposits, and then there's a calculation we use to come up with an income. So that's been a really great product for us. The other product, and it also kind of would be in conjunction with their self-employed and they're over a certain age, we can usually look at their assets.
Okay.
So look at their retirement accounts if they have, or savings accounts, and it's called an asset depletion, where we can actually do a calculation and come up with a monthly income for them. So that would be, especially a lot of self-employed borrowers, when they're doing their taxes, they may not show as much income, but they really are. So those would be probably a couple different ways we can get around that and show that they really are able to qualify.
Okay, yeah, anything you can get kind of like, as a realtor, I am self-employed, so anything you can get being self-employed, I think makes a big difference.
Definitely.
So it's nice to have, a lot of options.
Yeah.
What kind of borrowers would you say that you have the most experience with?
In my career, I've dealt with so many different age groups, but I have to say, first-time home buyers, probably in mid-20s to 30s, I work with them quite a bit lately, and I think it's because the great thing is people are learning to save money. They have good jobs. They ask a lot of questions, which I love. I love working with first-time home buyers because I like to be able to educate people. And I think the education is so important. And there's a lot of terms in our world, lending and real estate. it's kind of like being a doctor when a doctor talks to you and you don't understand what they're saying. So I try to explain those words to them in English so they actually know what's an impound account, what's mortgage insurance, what's upfront mortgage insurance,
and how do they actually work. Because
exactly.
it's one thing to understand like what they mean. It's another thing to be a first-time homeowner. Because I am a first-time homeowner right now in our home, and when we went through the process, I did not understand how how it worked
Right.
before I was in real estate. And so it's nice to have someone who's like, this is what this does, this is what this bill is, this is what's
Right.
going to happen after,
Right. So after we close, you're going to get a supplemental tax bill. What is that? And I always let my borrowers know they can call me anytime because they're going to have questions afterwards, obviously, and during. But all through the process too, we send out emails saying what the next step is going to be through the loan process. So we'll let them know this is going to happen next, and then there's a little video that comes and they can actually watch the video.
Oh,
and it'll
that's
explain
nice.
to them
I like
stuff.
that.
Yeah, so they're gonna, but I like to work with them hand in hand. I like to meet with them. I go through everything, and we might meet for an hour or two, but not always. But I really want to make sure that they know exactly what the process is going to be like.
I'd rather have something like that where, come in, meet me, let's talk, and have someone go over it with me rather than not have someone offer me that at all.
Right.
Because then, especially being like, as a first-time home buyer, you're just kind of like, everyone around me looks like they know what they're talking about, and I'm over here kind of just like intimidated.
Right.
And so it's nice, for people who are a little bit more intimidated of that, to have someone be like, come to me, let's talk, let me walk you through this so you don't have to be concerned, because this is one of, if not the biggest purchase of your life.
Exactly. It's one of the biggest things you're going to do.
And you're going to have that loan depending on what your loan terms are. If you do 15 to 30, you're going to have a loan for 15 to 30 years.
Right.
So you kind of want to have someone to talk to about it if you have questions.
Well, and I tell them, please ask me questions, because I'll ask them up front, how much do you know? Like, and then they'll say, we're new, or we know this and that. And so, I'll just start up from the beginning of the whole process. And as we're going through it, if they have any more questions, and if they go, well, my question, it's a dumb question. I go, nothing's a dumb question.
Never a dumb question. No stupid questions.
Because there's always going to be questions that, hey, if I don't know an answer, at least I know I can get the answer for you. So.
And I like it because then I'm like, oh, you know what? That's a great question. I never thought about it like that. So yeah, let me figure it out.
Right. Exactly.
What kind of experience do you have with agricultural properties and the loans that go along with those properties?
So there's different investors that, depending on acreage, so if let's say it's agriculturally zoned, as long as there's residential use. So let's say you have a home that's, on 30 acres and it's ag zone, but the home is used for residential, we can usually do that. That's not a problem. Where it gets tricky is if they grow crops, things like that.
Commercial use.
That is probably going to be not something we can do.
Okay.
Just depending on how many, I've done them in the past where it kind of depends on the underwriter, because if it's a hobby farm where it's not for business use,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nowhere on their taxes where it shows that they're getting like business from it, then we're probably going to be okay. But again, it kind of depends on what the appraiser says when they go out there to appraise the property. So they can be tricky, and they can be where sometimes, like if there's too many acres of crops, even if it's a hobby farm, a lot of times it's not going to fly because it has to be a percentage. And that, again, we'd get very particular about that, and I can get specifics on that, but that's where it can get kind of tricky. So I always have a handful of, let's say, ag lenders that I can refer people to as well.
That's perfect.
I also have another local lender that will do unique properties that we partner with. And it could be a unique property where you have a stick-built home and a manufactured. A lot of lenders aren't able to do that. We aren't. But if the manufacturer's maybe used for storage and it's not on a permanent foundation, we might be able to do it. So there's all these different unique type situations that can come up, and I usually can have an outlet for them. We can either partner with them, or I can usually refer people.
Okay, great. It's always nice to have options like that.
Especially in the North County here.
Yeah, we're a little, like, I mean, people that live here, they get it. But yeah, I mean, you could have a stick-built home with a manufactured on it, on a large piece of property.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really difficult. As a realtor, I understand that is really difficult to find a lender who can do something like that. If you're not paying cash, which, I mean, not everyone can.
Right. One thing I wanted to say too about appraisers, being local, not an online lender or out of the area lender, we use all local appraisers. They've been around for a long time, so that's really good for the deal for the buyer, because they know they're getting someone that's experienced in all the different neighborhoods up here, or in SLO County. So that is one other plus I have to say, is having local appraisers.
That's a huge deal, because you have appraisers that will come from the Valley, come from Bakersfield and Fresno and things like that. The market is different. It's different from county to county. And so when someone's gonna come out, from the Valley and come over to Central Coast and look at something, it's not gonna be the same.
No.
So it's a big deal to have local appraisers.
They don't have the experience, and they don't know the neighborhoods.
Exactly.
They don't know what's happened with our values, because our values have tended to still stay up a bit, and being as desirable as it is in this area. So.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
My big question, if you saw my last video with Carly, is are you available to be reached on the weekends?
Most definitely. That's when you guys work. I work. I'm flexible. You can call me. You can text me for a pre-approval letter, or I've even had it where people say, hey, I have new clients. They want to make an offer. They don't even have an application. So I can usually work with them. And what's nice is I have an online application available, so they can fill it out pretty quickly. The great thing with email and being digital, everybody can get things to me pretty quickly. So that's a definite yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Why should borrowers work with you? What makes you special, and why borrowers should work with you over the hundreds, if not thousands, we have in the county?
Well, I have to say, I love what I do. I take care of people. I've been in customer service and sales for all of my grown life, right? So I naturally communicate with people. I respond, I get back to people, and I think I get along. I'm able to just get along with people, and I listen to them. And I think just having those kind of relationships, it's more of a relationship than just a sale, because I'm looking at them, this is the biggest sale of their life most times, and we all are looking for the same goal, is to close the loan. But you have to be able to get along with people and listen to their needs, and I think that's the big part. I think that's why people want to work with me, because I want to listen to them. Also, I have the experience and the knowledge in lending, so I can steer them in the right path. I can hopefully put them in a loan that's going to work for them and save them the most money. So I think from experience, I think that's why people want to work with me, and I want to work with you. So
I can attest to that. Kathy's really easy to get along with, and I love the fact that you want to, for me personally, what stands out is that you want to make sure that they understand kind of what they're getting into, and understand, what all of this means in the process. I feel like the loan is sometimes the most confusing part of a real estate transaction.
yes.
And so I think personally that is a really big deal. So I love that you can do that.
Thank you.
And I think that's perfect answer.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, other than that, this has been great to have you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been fun, and we're just out here to help people.
Always. Yeah. That's all we want to do.
Yeah.
So, well, until next time, have a great day, you guys. Get out there, make it a great day, and I hope this has been super useful for you. And I'm going to put all of Kathy's information in this video so you can get a hold of her if you're ready to work with her. So until next time, we'll see you later, guys.
Have a great day.